"What do you like?" the men would ask. "Spitting," I'd say. To even utter the word felt like the worst kind of cuss, and I trained myself not to flinch or look away or offer a compensatory smile after I said it. In the dungeon's dim rooms, I unlearned my instinct for apology. I learned to hold a gaze. I learned the pleasure of cruelty. It was not true cruelty, of course. My clients paid $75 an hour to enact their disempowerment. The sex industry is a service industry, and I served humiliation to order. But the pageant of it was the key. To spit in an unwilling face was inconceivable to me and still is. But at a man who had paid for it, they knelt at my feet. They crawled naked across gleaming wood floors. They begged to touch me, begged for forgiveness. I refused. I leaned over their plaintive faces and gathered the wet in my mouth. I spat. Their hard flinch, eyes clenched. The shock of it radiated through my body, then settled, then swelled into something else. "Do you hate men?" people sometimes asked. "Not at all," I answered. "You must work out a lot of anger that way," they suggested. "I never felt angry in my sessions," I told them. I often explained that the dominatrix's most useful tool was a well-developed empathic sense. What I did not acknowledge to any curious stranger or to myself was that empathy and anger are not mutually exclusive. We are all unreliable narrators of our own motives. And feeling something neither proves nor disproves its existence. Conscious feelings are no accurate map to the psychic imprint of our experiences. They are the messy catalog of emotions once and twice and thrice removed, often the symptoms of what we won't let ourselves feel. They are not Jane Eyre's locked-away Bertha Mason, but her cries that leak through the floorboards, the fire she sets while we sleep, and the wet nightgown of its quenching. I didn't derive any sexual pleasure from spitting, I assured people, only psychological. Now, this dichotomy seems flimsy at best. How is the pleasure of giving one's spit to another's hungry mouth not sexual? I needed to distinguish that desire from what I might feel with a lover. I wanted to divorce the pleasure of violence from that of sex, but that didn't make it so. It was the thrill of transgression, I said, of occupying a male space of power. It was the exhilaration of doing the thing I would never do, was forbidden to do by my culture and by my conscience. I believed my own explanations, though now it is easy to poke holes in them. I did not want to be angry. What did I have to be angry about? My clients sought catharsis through the reenactment of childhood traumas. They were hostages to their pasts, to the people who had disempowered them. I was no such hostage. I did not even want to consider it. I wanted only to be brave and curious and in control. I did not want my pleasure to be any kind of redemption. One can only redeem a thing that has already been lost or taken. I did not want to admit that someone had taken something from me. His name was Alex, and he lived at the end of a long unpaved driveway off the same wooded road that my family did. It took 10 minutes to walk between our homes, both of which sat on the bank of Deep Pond. Like many of the ponds on Cape Cod, ours formed some 15,000 years ago when a block of ice broke from a melting glacier and drove deep into the solidifying land of my future backyard. When the ice block melted, the deep depression filled with water and became what is called a kettle hole lake.